IPP community. This is Richard Linton, National Board Member. We're joined today by Alex Cearns, who is in Western Australia, and she is going to be a speaker at this year's New Zealand Photography Show. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a little about yourself, and I'd love to know about sort of the work that lights up your life.
Well, I've been a professional pet photographer predominantly now for about 16 years, working from a studio based in Perth. And I also do global photo tours alongside that. And I do business coaching as well during the week. So I shoot on the weekends now, do 5 to 8 shoots in a day, every hour on the hour back to back, which is pretty hectic. And then that enables me to do business coaching during the week and keep the two kind of businesses quite separate. So when I'm focusing on one, I'm not worrying about the other. And yeah, it's my studio's still booking clients, every week, which is great. There's still demand, so I'll keep probably doing that until I have to be pried out of there.
And what's give us a bit of a taste of what you might be sharing with the attendees at the photo show this year. Have you got some little surprises in your bag of tricks you'll be pulling out?
Actually, I don't want to oversell it because in case it flops, but it won't. I'm doing the opening address to the entire photo show, which I think is really special, and it's on the magic of photography. So it's about all the incredible things photography brings into our lives and enables us to share with other people. And it's an inspirational look, I guess, at all the amazing facets of photography. So that's aimed to really motivate people right at the start of the photo show and get them in the mood for a really fantastic experience. And then on the Sunday the 9th, I think it is, I'm doing a 3 hour studio workshop, which is called the Studio Pet Photography Blueprint from Setup to Sales. So I'm going to actually be working in a studio. We'll have a dog in there and show the attendees how I run through a client process from the moment they arrive until the moment they leave to make sure they've had a good experience and set them up with education that then enables them to make good choices when I show them their products and do their purchase appointment. So I'm really excited about that too. That's not something I often open the lid on. I like to share the secrets, but at the same time, it's not something I've done a full workshop on before. So I'm really excited to share that with people.
And working with animals and children, isn't that the two things they say never do?
Yeah, don't mix them together. It's horrific. Separately, they're probably fine. Animals are fine on their own, but throw kids in there and I can't even deal. Because yeah, it's definitely not my strong suit. You put children in there. I don't actually photograph owners with their pets. I just do animals. One, because I think I get the best results in that, but it's just not my comfort zone, and I've never really wanted it to be. So I find it, I've never had a dog look at a photo and say, I've got three chins. I don't like my eyes. Yeah, so I find it my clients are so much easier. They're just like they don't even have an opinion really. They're just like, that's great.
Actually, that's a great segue for the next question I had for you, actually, about your dogs and not having an idea about what they look like. But what's one story from your career? Is there anything or any highlight in your career that's taught you something important?
Oh, I think even more than just one kind of instance, photography has given me opportunities beyond anything I've ever imagined. And, you know, um, the fact that I've been to all 7 continents, I have 8 books published by publishers. I've done television and radio. These amazing business coaching network. But I just learned really early on, if I got carried away with any of that stuff and didn't look after my core customer, my make sure my client experience is pretty spot on. There aren't any pictures to talk about on television or to put in books, or no one wants to tour with you if your profile isn't good or ethical or you're not legitimate and honest. So I think for me, just really early on, I just learnt not to get too carried away with winning. Awards are awesome, but not to get too pie in the sky with all that stuff, and just make sure that at the crux of it, my clients are happy because then all that other stuff flows, and without them, there isn't anything else really.
Yeah. And the is there a moment in your photography that really has grabbed you and you've never let go of that moment?
Yeah, it probably happens even now, and you would experience it too. When you get that absolute hero shot that you just know is something different or something out there, it will do quite well if you put it on social media, if you share it in a competition. I think those are the moments that I live for that really make me keep trying and keep shooting. I've yet to take my perfect photo. I've got perfect subjects because I love all the animals I work with, but I'm yet to take a photo that I think is an absolute 10 out of 10 because we're all quite, own worst critics. Most of us are perfectionists, which is, good and bad in a way. So yeah, I love those moments that I have. And, just got back from a tour from Costa Rica and I managed to capture a front-on photo of a toucan that's unlike anything I've ever seen. And I just love that because it's so different. But I got one photo out of like 40,000 that was everyone, the other ones, they were nice. Some of them were nice, but they looked like pictures other people had taken too. So I'm always looking for that one thing that just breaks the mold a little bit, which in animal photography, showing an animal we're all familiar with, but shooting it in a fresh way is always the challenge. So yeah, I love that.
And I think I read some of you're an ambassador for SanDisk, is that right?
I work with Sandisk quite a bit,
So,
yeah, a number of
so
other brands. Yep.
when you're shooting 40,000 photographs on your holidays, they must love you.
I've got my I think they're 2 TB at the moment backup drives, and yeah, they take care of all my backup needs, which is brilliant. You have to have really good backup systems also if you're shooting when you're traveling to make
Yeah.
sure everything gets home okay.
And tell me, you've been a very experienced photographer. You've got quite a few years, although you don't look like it. I understand you've been shooting for quite a number of years. And what does keep inspiring you to keep up the momentum in your business and not burn out?
It's a great question. I have a pretty much a stress-free life because I'm quite, know what I'm not good at, but also know what the, parts of life I am good at, and time management and time compartmentalization I'm pretty good at. So, what keeps me going, is, photography to me, the pet photography is my day job. That enables me to have the funds to, then go and invest in tours and gives me the time to go and do the business coaching and that sort of thing. I love helping people and teaching. I love the moments when clients see their images and, I capture their pet's expression. And some of these animals, particularly dogs, are not good with strangers, or they're the sort of pets that only the owner knows their true nature because outside of the home environment, they might be a bit nervous or have some issues. And if I can catch their true personality in the studio, I really value that. But overall, my most inspiring factor is nature. If you go out in nature, all your stresses wash away. And I just think being out in the natural environment when things are happening organically, and there's that challenge of whether it's landscapes or people or, just photographing trees if that's what you like. I find that everything's just peaceful, everything slows down, and just being able to shoot for myself sometimes just for fun is really important as well, especially when photography is a job. You've got to have that fun element in there too. And so, yeah, nature's my greatest motivator just to get outside and get amongst it.
And in your commercial life, what you don't just shoot dogs, I take it. Is that,
No, I photograph every creature I can get my hands on, pretty much.
and what's the most unique or obscure thing creature you've photographed?
Oh, I've had a makeshift studios in Cambodia where I've photographed rescue bear cubs before, rescue sun bear cubs. I think in Australia the most unique was a hybrid type kangaroo that was bred with some sort of wallaby. It was a crossbreed kangaroo, and it was only a baby, but it was literally the last of its kind genetically. So when that kangaroo died, that species was extinct, and I think that was um, quite had an impact, I think. But I think being in Australia, we have some of the most adorable baby native animals in the world. So all the baby koalas, is any kangaroo joeys, Tasmanian devil, little Tasmanian devil pups. Like we just have some incredible creatures. I photograph insects, reptiles, frogs, birds. There's not a lot, to be honest. I probably haven't photographed in a studio other than exotic animals, apart from the bears. Everything else has pretty much been ticked off the list.
But in Australia, as well as having the cutest baby animals, you also have some of the most vicious, fully grown animals. I mean, you know, those emus, my God.
I've photographed emu chicks in the studio before with rescue emu chicks with rescue kangaroo joeys, and they were
Yeah.
looking at each other like they are aliens. And because emus obviously have little tiny wings, they don't have any arms. When they run, they just look insane. It was one of the funniest photo shoots. They're just running around looking at these kangaroo joeys. And I took a picture that's basically they're our national emblems in Australia. They're on our coat of
Yeah.
arms. So there was a picture of them looking at each other, confused. I thought it was a classic kind of shot.
Or maybe you can do a bit of the old chicken dance for us at the Gala Awards dinner. You can give
Look,
us a demonstration.
coming a long way. Whatever you request, I'm at your disposal. So I can't
Well,
dance to save myself, but I'll give it a try.
there we are. It'd be great for the gram. Hey, tell me, is there any particular turning point in your career that really changed everything for you?
Yeah, I think when I started out, I bought a like a budget $500 camera and I thought I'm going to photograph everything. It's going to be really easy. How hard can photography be? And within about 8 weeks, I realized for me it was quite hard. I wasn't good at most things, and I would gravitate towards, birds and animals if they're in the frame. So I had this pivotal moment at a park once with a friend, and I was photographing the family and her daughter spinning around doing some ballet twirls. The daughter was about 5. And while the daughter was spinning around doing this twirling with this ribbon, I saw like a duck fly in. So while she wasn't looking, I took some photos of the duck. And then, a seagull wandered past and there was a pelican. And when I got home, I had more photographs of the birds than I did of the child that I was meant to be photographing. And so I kind of thought, okay, maybe I'll point my camera at animals. They're going to become the natural focus of my lens, if you will. So I did that for about a year and I started entering competitions and trying to grow my profile amongst my peers because I thought, if I ever want to do this commercially, other photographers need to know who I am in order for me to push past that and for the general public to know who I am. Like I need a profile. So I spent about a year doing wildlife photography. And during that time, I went to the Cocos Keeling Islands, which are off the coast of Western Australia up north past Christmas Island. It's an atoll of amazing islands. And I took a photo of some underwater blue clams. They were in a very rustic breeding facility. I wasn't in the water. I was just standing outside photographing them in a big tank that was kind of half reclaimed by the ocean. And I entered it in some competitions when I got home with no expectation, and it started winning all these awards and it started getting a lot of attention. And people started running up to me saying, I want to buy a copy. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a limited edition of a hundred. I didn't even know what that meant, but I was like, and they're $1,000. And it's the first time anyone had ever wanted to pay me for anything. So it really made me stop and think, hang on, if I take the right shot and I hit the right audience and I get the right promotion for it, the platform being a competition or, wherever I'm putting it, I can actually earn some income from this. And that was a massive turning point for me. It's not even my favorite photo. Having said that, no disrespect to it because it's earned me. I think I've sold about 75 of the 100 copies, so it's made me 75,000 Australian dollars. And I used to resent it because I'd enter 10 photos in a competition of kangaroos and kookaburras and birds and Australian animals, and all they'd want next stage is, oh, you've one photo's made it to the next stage and it's blue clams. And then I thought, you need to grow up. Like without that photo, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. So be warned, when people see it, they normally want a copy of it. It's 25 left. But it was just a massive turning point in my thinking and made me really get serious about it and think, well, what do I want to do? I just want to photograph animals. And the wildlife thing wasn't really working out as far as income goes. So I thought I've got a little room in the back garden. I might just start a studio and just shoot for fun. And actually, my first client is a lady who now lives in Christchurch in New Zealand. She was a radio announcer on one of our breakfast shows, and she brought in Doug the pug, and he recently passed away, and he came in for photos, a black dog, and she's like, "Can you photograph him on black?" And I was like, "Sure." Didn't know what I was doing, and I'll never forget that. I couldn't believe she paid money for her pictures, and then the rest is history.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you said, I think you've been to all seven continents, is that right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
There's that in itself is an achievement. But what's the most unexpected place that your photography career has taken you?
Wow, that's a great question. I think some of the ones I feel like I earned the most were the ones that were the hardest to get to. So the Antarctic is pretty up there, and the Galapagos Islands. It was 56 hours of travel, consecutive travel to get there. Great time frame, but great reward when you do arrive. I'm going back again in January next year, so yeah, I think it's only 45 hours or something that trip. But some places like that. Surprisingly, one of the places I went that didn't blow the roof off for me was the Amazon. Not a huge spider fan. The only creatures I don't like are big hairy spiders. And it was just, I got into my hotel room and well, it was remote jungle lodge room, and I closed the mosquito net, and there was a tarantula in there with me. So I was like, I have to move rooms, burn it down, ran out screaming. So that, yeah, I don't. This quite a while ago now. I don't know if I'd have a difference of opinion now. Everything just was like wet, dangerous, and trying to kill me basically. Um, but yeah, I just got back from Costa Rica, which was phenomenal. Probably I wasn't really trying that hard to shoot. I was on a tour with, leading a tour with other photographers, and I was just kind of standing back most of the time or waiting till they'd moved on to take pictures. And I think I got one of the best photo sets I've ever shot of just wildlife because it's just spoiled for choice. There's just creatures and birds everywhere. It really is quite a remarkable place. I just feel blessed to, within my own state, just go 2 hours out of the city, to be honest. If there's I'm not one of those photographers that will sit for 7 hours waiting for the rarest, most exclusive thing to come out. If it's taking too long and there's just a pelican or a seagull, I'll just shoot that instead. So anything that I can point my lens at, I'm happy with.
For a person that doesn't like spiders, you really have chosen the wrong place to live, haven't you?
Yeah, we don't have any in our touch wood, any in our house. I'm fine with small ones, but great big hairy ones. A friend of mine, used the term loosely, came for a photo shoot once and had a lot of different Australian wildlife. He had baby saltwater crocodile and possums and all sorts of things. And he said to me, "I've bought cuddles," and I was like, "What's cuddles?" And he said, "It's a bird-eating spider. So if you can imagine, it was about as big as my hand." And it eats birds. No one wants to see that. Anyway, he put it on the backdrop, and the camera for me is like a barrier, like magic screen of safety, which is completely not true. But anyway, as I leant forward, I was like, oh my God, but I was like, the camera's there. If it's going to jump, it will get your camera. As I leant forward, it was all spread out like this. It got scared and it went like that. And it pulled all its legs in, and it looked like a bunch of little matchsticks all lined up. And I felt sorry. The big scary giant had frightened it, and I felt sorry for it. And I put that photo on social media. If I'd put that photo on social media with its eyes and legs, everyone would have freaked out. But I showed people the cute little version where it pulled all its legs in. It may or may not be in the photography is magic presentation, and yeah, it changed people's opinions of spiders. They were like, "Oh my God, it looks cute," and it got scared. And I didn't want to pick it up or anything, but I kind of had a slightly different, feeling about them after that because they're probably way more scared of us than we are of them. It's kind of an irrational fear.
It totally is, isn't it? Now, tell me, you had your blue crabs, which sort of kicked off the career, and you realized you could make a living out of selling prints.
Yeah.
But had that little wee magic moment not happened and captured that image, and you hadn't gone down the path of being a photographer, um, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Oh, I definitely wouldn't be a photographer. I know that it was such a shift to me to think that people wanted to pay money for something I'd taken. I think we all have that moment in our career where the first sale or the first, someone's holding a check in front of us and we're like, wow, there's an opportunity here. I actually, alongside photography, and the reason everything's so compartmentalized in my life is because I'm also a professional film reviewer, which I decided I wanted to be about 2 years ago. So I love films and I love writing. So I literally watch everything. I go to the cinema probably on a slow week, 5 times a week, on a busy week, 13 times a week to watch movies. I have a movie club there's about 500 members so far. So quite often movie club members come along as well. So it encourages people to go to the cinema. And I review streaming shows too. And I'm one of the most prolific film and streaming show reviewers in Australia. In 2 years, I've built up an awesome reputation in that just by doing the work and watching lots of films and having opinions. Yeah, that's what I would, I probably would have kicked into that a bit sooner, but I think that's overall just a massive lesson in if you want to do something, you just start doing it and you put the work in and you do what you love. And people say to me, "You don't make any money out of it." I'm like, well, no, but there are different forms of currency other than income. My jobs pay me really well. I don't pay for a lot of movies. I get looked after really well, get invited to lots of special events. And, I'm created this amazing community of film lovers who get to go and watch films. So, yeah, I have my creative outlet and then I get to go and write and talk about other people's creations. I kind of love the balance of both of those things.
And do film reviewers get free popcorn?
Sometimes so depends what cinema I go to. Sometimes I do. And the only thing better than a movie is a free movie. So I love one of the cinemas gives me sometimes 20 free tickets to a premiere screening and I get to invite 20 people along. And I think that's really special. It's not something I take for granted. I literally review something every single day. It's a 30-hour-a-week job that I invest
Oh,
in it. But I've had some amazing opportunities to, juror categories of film festivals overseas and go to conferences and stuff like that. And it's just like the beginning of my photography career, but in film reviewing all over again, which I really love.
living the dream. Hey, just quickly, for anyone that's sort of sitting on the fence, should they attend the New Zealand Photography Show or anything? Um, what would you say? Why should they come and see you speak? Potentially attend the masterclass or the workshop?
Uh,
What?
yes, they should. I mean, firstly, New Zealand. So, and if you're in New Zealand, Christchurch, a beautiful location, there is. there's nothing like an in-person conference. Online learning is great. It makes it accessible to some people who may not be able to get there in person, but there is nothing like that sense of community of being in the same room as like-minded people and your peers and sharing and learning. The in-jokes, core memories that are created from attending events. You cannot replicate that online. It's not the same. Um, I will, and these are other people's words, not mine, but when I present, I like to be entertaining. I like them to be funny, engaging, and educational because I think that's what makes people listen, pay attention, and learn. So photography is magic. One of my favorite presentations I've ever done. It actually has some real magic in it at the start. I've been practicing, so I've got some magic tricks from the interwebs, and I've been practicing. So yep, to wow you guys, because like I said, it's a long way to go. I've got to literally bring some tricks. So you don't want to miss that. The studio workshop is something I don't share where to go from very often, so it's a unique opportunity to see that. But all the other speakers too and workshops are phenomenal. You're not going to go away with less knowledge than when you arrived. You're going to go with a whole bag of tricks, and literally you might learn some tricks from me from my bad dodgy magic. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm really really looking forward to it, and I'm thrilled you guys invited me over. I'm really grateful for that.
Hey, well, we're looking forward to having you. I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and to learn from you and get socialized with you and so on. So, hey, Alex, thanks very much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you in Christchurch. Make sure you bring a puffer jacket if they sell those in Western Australia.
They do.
Okay,
Yep.
you'll certainly need that at that time of
Awesome.
year. But hey, we look forward to seeing you and in person, and you just keep working on those magic tricks, just
I
perfect
will.
them.
Yeah, I need a bit of practice. I can't promise it'll be good, but I'll have a crack.
Hey, that's wonderful. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks,
Okay,
Richard.
bye bye.
Bye bye.